Hey guys, good morning. Here we are again, and today we're going to talk about graphing. So yesterday we talked about slope-intercept form, how to write an equation in slope-intercept form, um, what it looks like, what the slope is, what the y-intercept is. Right? We talked about all that stuff. So today I'm going to give you the equation. Actually, we're going to do two things, kind of. Um, I'm going to give you the line. You're going to tell me the equation. And then I'm going to give you the equation. And we're going to talk about how to graph that line. Okay? So this is my graph setup here. I don't have my smartboard. So you'll have to be gentle here. I know that I'm not the artist of my family, trust me. So here's my line. Okay? And I want to know what this equation would be. So anytime we're talking about slope-intercept form, there's always two things I need. A slope and a y-intercept. Now what's nice is that I should be able to figure that stuff out from my graph over here. So the y-intercept, that's going to be the easiest part. Because I'm just going to look, here's my y-axis. Where is it crossing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My y-intercept is just 5. Now my slope is a little bit trickier, but we have already done these problems, right? I can just find 2 points on my line, use my slope formula. Maybe we want to use 0, 5, and we want to use, what's that one? 2, negative 1, right? I could go ahead, go through my slope formula, go y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and get that that's negative 6 over 2, which is going to simplify to negative 3. Or I can always just look at how my line is moving, right? How am I getting from one point to the next point? Well, this one I went down 3, I went over 1. That's the slope of negative 3. So whatever way works, if you're like, all right, I'm good at formulas, I like the formula, I'm going to use the formula, totally use the formula. That's totally fine. If you can just kind of see in the graph how we're moving, I'm going down 3, I'm going over 1, then your slope's negative 3. Okay? So remember, now that I have those two things, I'm not quite done. I want to write the equation of this line. So we know that the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. We're always just going to plug in our slope and our y-intercept, and there is the equation of my line. That's pretty nice, right? Yeah. Okay. So what if we go the other way? What if I say, hey, here's this equation of a line. I would like you to graph that line. Because that is something that will definitely happen a lot when we are going through all these linear things. So, touch up my graph here. I'm going to have to do that every time on the y-intercept, I think. There we go. All right, so if I want to graph, let's say y equals 2/3 x minus 6. Okay? I still want to kind of identify my slope and my y-intercept because those are the two things that I'm going to use all the time. So my slope here is 2/3, right? Whatever's in front of x. My y-intercept here is negative 6. So how are those two things going to help me? Well, I always start at my y-intercept. I always tell my kids, begin with b. B is for begin, right? So the b is my starting point, my initial value. So negative 6. So I'm going to go on the y-axis, and I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know that that point is on this graph because it's my y-intercept. So I'm going to start with the point that I know. From that point on the y-axis, I'm going to use my slope to rise and run to more points. So I'm going to start at negative 6, and my slope's 2/3. So I'm going to go from here, I'm going to go up 2. Remember, because the rise is on the top, so up 2. And then I'm going to run. When I run, I always go to the right. Run 3. And I'm going to color that point in. And I'm not done because I'm going to do it again. Rise 1, 2. Run 1, 2, 3. And once I have at least 3 points on there, I can connect them, make this nice solid line. And that is what the line y equals 2/3 x minus 6 is going to look like. So I always start at the y-intercept, and then I always move my slope from that first point. Let's do another one. Let's go with, and all of these that I'm going to give you today are in slope-intercept form. Like I said, later this week we'll talk about ones that are not in slope-intercept form. So let's go with y equals 4x minus 2. So again, I need those two things. My slope in this case is the 4, because it's the one with x. My y-intercept is -2. I'm going to begin at b. So I look, here's my b, my -2. On the y-axis, make sure your first point's always going to be on this y-axis. I'm going to put my point, -2, right there. And then my slope is 4. So remember, if it's 4, that means up 4. But how do I write 4 as a fraction? Over 1, right? Any number that's not a fraction is always going to run 1. So from here, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. Put a point. And I'm going to do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go over 1. Put a point. There is my line. It's a little not the straightest line there, but you guys can imagine, right? Here's my line, y equals 4x minus 2. Starts at -2. It goes up 4 over 1, up 4 over 1. Yeah, that's graphing. Let's do one more, okay? Let's say we had, I would say probably the hardest part is making sure you know what the slope and the y-intercept are. As long as you know those two things, then this is a pretty easy process. But that doesn't mean that people don't make mistakes on it all the time. So, all right. Let's go with, oh, I didn't erase my equation. Let's go y equals -5 halves x plus 8. So again, it's in slope-intercept form. That means it tells me my slope, which is -5 over 2. It tells me my y-intercept, which is 8. I'm always going to begin with the b. So I'm going to go on my y-axis over here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, of course, 8. All the way here at the top. And then my slope is -5 halves. So from this point, I'm going to count. Now this time it's negative, so it's going to go down. So down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I run, I always go to the right. Run 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Run 2. There is my equation, my line, sorry, with the equation y equals -5 halves x plus 8. All right, so this is one of those practice deals where you're just going to have to practice it. But that's kind of, those are the steps. All right, you're going to start with your y-intercept. You're going to start there on the y-axis. You're going to move whatever your slope tells you to move. That's all I got for you. Let me know if you're struggling. I think we are going to take a quiz here. Not Friday, but like next week before we take our test. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure about that. Let me ponder that over. But I think I would like a quiz. So we'll work on that. Okay? I'll let you know more about that. You guys work on this homework and let me know if you have any questions.